Hi, I'm Noah Siebert, and I'm here to give you my persuasive speech today. I'd like to lead this off by saying there's some huge spoiler alerts coming up, so if you are not caught up to date on the recent Avengers movies, I would probably just mute me and not watch this. Secondly, I'd like to point out that I am a huge nerd, if you didn't catch on to that, because of the fact I'm an engineer, uh, but I'm not as bad as some people that might wield a shield in front of me. And I'd also like to point out that no matter how much I'm talking about Marvel today, I need everyone to know that Batman is by far the superior superhero, and the Christopher Nolan Batman Dark Knight trilogy is flawless. So, the real point of this speech is to talk about and try to persuade you that Iron Man is the real hero from the cinematic universe and not Captain America. And there's several different points about this, and I've been a fan my whole life, and that kind of gives me some of the credibility here since I've been starting to watch the movies. But from the first Avengers movie, which I have a poster here that I got when the first showing, that I went with my brother, and there's a quote that kind of points out the original tension between Captain America and Iron Man, and it goes as such. Captain America says, "Big man in a suit of armor, take that off, what are you?" Tony Stark replies with saying he's a genius, billionaire, playboy, and philanthropist. Captain America then says, "I know guys with none of that worth 10 of you. I've seen the footage. The only thing you fight for is yourself. You're not the guy to make the sacrifice play, to lay down on a wire and let the other guys crawl over you." Iron Man then again says, "I think I would just cut the wire." And Captain America complains that there's always a way out for him, you know. You may not be a threat, but you better stop pretending to be a hero. Tony Stark then again says, "A hero like you're a laboratory experiment, Rogers. Everything special about you came out of a bottle." And then Captain America then says, "Put on the suit. Let's go a few rounds." So Captain America, the pretty boy, the poster child of the Avengers, is even trying to interrogate or anger Iron Man and kind of pick a fight with him in this movie. And so he's not really the perfect guy everyone's cracked up to be. But in this movie, throughout at the end, Iron Man is the one that actually sacrificed himself, and he flies the nuke headed for New York City into outer space through the wormhole that was created above Avengers Tower, and he flies into space, potentially risking his life, but he ends up being saved by the Hulk when he falls back through. And this caused him a lot of PTSD and anxiety because of this. It's covered a lot in the 2013 Iron Man 3 movie, and you can see like how much he struggles from that. But the other thing he takes away that leads into the second Avengers film, Age of Ultron 2015, is that Iron Man is super nervous and tries to prevent another situation like this to happen again. So he does everything he can to prevent the next human extinction level attack by preventing it and having protection to start off with. So he creates Ultron, which is supposed to be a program that'll help stop any threats before they can attack anyone on Earth. Instead, it becomes evil, and of course, the Avengers end the threat and they save the planet. But what the general public finds out is that the Avengers are all really powerful, and there's no really checks and balances on them like our own government has. And so that led into the 2016 Captain America Civil War film. And the main premise of this is that Captain and Iron Man disagree over the Sokovia Accords, which is a government issued document that Tony Stark, Iron Man, worked on with the government. That's basically kind of similar to gun control, and how some people feel that, if you have gun control now where you prevent where you can have an open discussion about it, and you can limit some things while maintaining power to most of the people, that it works better. Whereas Captain America just has a very overtly emotional response, and he's just like, no, nobody can tell the superheroes what to do. We're going to decide what's right, and we're going to have our own authority. And so they fight over that. While there's an underlying theme in this movie also that Captain America's best friend Bucky actually murdered Iron Man's parents, and he knew this, and he never told him, which most people call lying and keeping secrets, which is not very heroic to me. I'd like to point that out. And this creates a divide between the two characters, and they are unable to speak to each other until a world end situation comes up again in the 2018 film Avengers Infinity War, where they actually have to talk. And in the events of the movie, eventually Thanos, the villain in that movie, snaps his fingers and half the population dies and goes away. And in that aftermath, the second part of that movie, the 2019 cinematic masterpiece, Avengers Endgame, came out. And Iron Man is sitting in the aftermath of Thanos, and he is, for the first time in his life, living a happy life with a wife and a child. He's retired, hung up the suit. He still invents and uses his genius level billionaire attributes to do things that'll better everybody. Captain America is meanwhile in some therapy groups, helping out, doing little things here and there. But Iron Man's finally happy, but yet Captain America goes and convinces him not only to invent the technology that will allow the Avengers to save the planet, but he also gets Iron Man, involved to where the point that he doesn't feel like he can leave because Iron Man is inherently a hero and he wanted to help save the world, which he does. And so Iron Man snaps his fingers to reverse the effects of Thanos and kill his army so that the world can be safe again. And because of that, he actually dies. And Captain America, he is given the responsibility to take all the Infinity Stones and take them back into time and put them back where they came from. But he also did one more thing, and he put himself back in his own timeline to let him live out a happy, peace-filled life with a wife, uh, which is exactly what he stole from Iron Man. So, in conclusion, I just really thought the three main points that should be considered is that Captain America's main argument about Iron Man Tony Stark is that he is just a self-centered, egotistical guy. But Iron Man is the guy that not once but twice saves the planet, or a city, and then the entire universe. Whereas Captain America is just kind of a ground soldier and can't really do much because he carries a shield. The second main point is that Captain America has an ongoing problem with authority. He, in the first movie, couldn't get along with Iron Man because he was a different leadership style. And then in Civil War, he couldn't get along with the government because he didn't like being told what to do. So he constantly goes against the grain of what everyone else would want him to do sometimes. And finally, Captain America decides to get Iron Man to give up his happy life and his first time he was ever happy, and he gets killed in the process. So in conclusion, I'll leave it up to you to decide who you think would be more heroic.